Welcome back, folks. I am finally feeling better from the spring allergy season, but holy crap, it was kinda bad this year. But in the meantime, we have patch 1.5.1 on the common test server, which buffs the high tier medium tanks that nobody plays, like the Leopard 1 or the STB or the Object 430U by not nerfing it, so pussy out on that one, wonderful. We have the return of the Kharkov map, as well as the session statistics thingy-majig, which you could get it already from the mods and stuff, but okay, sure, why not? So, as what we do with all new patches, let's take a look at the new hidden vehicles that's not available to the public, but it's already in the game files. So, as usual, I'll put the timestamps in the description below, and excuse my croaking and coughing sounds because I'm still sick. So, before we get started, we have a marathon for the celebratory of D-Day, 75 years, on June 6th, obviously, but it's for 14 days, and it's for the M10 RBFM, so it's like the T-34 Shielded, but you get a tier 5 premium French tank destroyer that has been buffed. What? They buffed the 3-inch gun on this vehicle. So originally it was about 1,800 DPM, which is okay for a tier 5, but they buffed it to the same rate of fire as the actual Wolverine or the T-67. So basically with the 76mm, as on the other vehicles, this thing cranks out a lot of DPM for a tier 5, so rapid firing 3-inch gun. I swore I remember it was like 1,800 DPM, so I'll go check right now through time and put a timestamp or something screenshot of the original stuff, but they actually buffed it, so yeah, it's not bad, and it's free like the T-34 Shielded, but if you don't do the marathon, you can buy it, obviously, but do the marathon. It's not that bad. It's not hard. So, basically, it's slower than the Wolverine, and it's slower, obviously, than the T-67, but I do have crews for these. Wonderful, so professional. Oh my god. Come on, Sam! Do the shit beforehand! Jesus. Okay. So, allergy sucks. I apologize. I sound like a croaking frog thing. But traverse speed is the same as the Wolverine. Has the same view range as the Wolverine. So that's good. Same camo. It's French though. Degrees of gun depression same. Wolverine is the same. It fires actually faster. It has better DPM now than the T-67 and the Wolverine baseline. What the fuck? Has 2 more millimeters of penetration. Alright, let's see the gold shell. Gold shell is a APCR shell of 177. Wow, it's a premium. So premium has to be better than actual tanks or normal tanks. Fuck me. So you could play this vehicle, or you could get this vehicle by playing a marathon for June for all the servers. It's a 14-day marathon, something like the T-34 Shielded, yada yada. So that's that thing out of the way. And we have a tier 9 version of the Object 777, version number 2. So obviously everybody thought this could be the frontline reward at September for 10th prestige and stuff, but they don't have it yet on the test server, so we can only look at the tier 10 model, which has been in the game for like a billion years. So it is a very old vehicle, and they made the HD model like 3 years ago. They have the SD model like 5 years ago. I remember, I did the video for it. But they actually have the nerf stats for this vehicle, and they were saying something about testing the tier 9 vehicle in the middle of May, so this is the only vehicle we got. Now, some are saying on the Russian server that this is not original because we already have this vehicle in the game files. So technically, this vehicle is not the frontline reward. So my 2 cents is that this is not that special since I already saw it perhaps about 5 years ago. So, I mean, I don't mind getting it, but it's another Russian heavy tank. Could we get something else that's interesting? Like, I don't know, some Japanese medium that's a prototype, I don't know, or I don't know, some Italian, Polish medium that's super prototypey and paper tanks, but you know, not fucking Russian heavy. Wonderful. So, yeah, that's fucking Object 777 version number 2. I do wish it's not Russian heavy. I do wish it's not Russian. I wish it's something like a German or American or French or any else, but Russian. But okay, so that's my 2 cents. So let's move on to the first hidden vehicle. Oh, I forgot. We still don't have the British Tier A premium light tank, the FV1001066 Senlac. I don't remember it well, but here are the pictures and stuff. So it's a Tier A British premium light tank. Has a 20-pounder firing HESH shells. Basically, introduction to British lights, quote unquote. Maybe, I don't know. We don't have it yet, so it's not coming out soon. But there you go. So let's move on to the first hidden vehicle added in this patch. And starting off, we have the T-116. It is a Tier 3 premium Russian light tank. Basically a gift for this year. One of the gifts. Because what happened to the AM Gentron? Gentron? It's a Tier 2 premium French car that nobody saw. We already covered this vehicle like a few months back, but it's a premium Tier 2 French car of a vehicle. We don't see it. I thought it was a celebratory premium for the release of World of Tanks 1.0 back in March, but it's been a while, so this could be the anniversary gift, whereas the T-116 could be like the New Year's gift or something. So this vehicle is a premium Tier 3 Russian light. It is a reconnaissance light tank, so it's pretty fast. Here are the historical stuff, yada yada. So it looks kind of like the BT series and the T-29 stuff and other stuff. So it kind of looks like a BT but fatter. So okay, but then again, Russian designs, so yada yada. It's a fast vehicle with a 45mm. Fires every round 2 seconds. That's pretty good. I can't talk. It's been a while. I am rusty. So 51mm of pen, 47 alpha. That gives you a DPM about 1,200. Yep. So it's a Tier 3, and Tier 3s don't see Tier 5s. So okay, has only 5 degrees of gun depression. So that's kind of iffy. But 30 elevation. So just run around. It's a free tank, collects dust, yada yada. Let's see how much view range. It's 320, so not bad. Has a camo rating of a sort of medium tank-ish. So it's okay. I mean, low tiers. Weighs about 10 tons, so featherweight. Has about 32 horsepower per ton ratio, so it is pretty fast. 60 kilometers per hour top speed and 20 reverse. 50 degrees per second traverse, that's pretty good. No armor whatsoever. 15 at the best for the front, and only 230 health points. So it is a Russian light. You get to train your commander, driver, and loader. No gunner. That's interesting. So if you have high tier Russian lights, it's pretty much the T-54. So you have a commander, a gunner, and a driver, and a loader. Whereas the T-100 light tank has a commander, gunner, and driver, I think. It's only a 3-man crew. Otherwise, I'm stupid, and I'm wrong. So, so basically compare this vehicle with the Panzer 1C. So obviously doesn't have the machine gun of a Panzer 1C, so you get the benefits of penetrating armored vehicles. But the downside is you get machine gunned by the Panzer 1C since you have no armor whatsoever. And the Panzer 1C has 30mm of frontal hull armor, so sometimes they will bounce your 51mm of pen on the sloped upper glacis. So, yeah, okay. But otherwise, it has better horsepower per ton ratio. Okay. And not as good camo. Okay, less view range. Ugh, that sucks. And also less top speed. Holy shit, yeah, the Panzer 1C, 79 kilometers per hour top speed. Try to catch that. So, it's a dust collector. Let me take a look at the terrain resistance. So here is the off-screen comparison. I'll show you guys the stats right now on the page with the screenshot, but tanks.gg has been updated other than the armor model of these new vehicles. So with the T-116 at tier 3, we have, oops, wrong test server, give me a second. There we go, so professional. So basically 1.15 for hard, 1.25 for medium, and 2.21 for soft. Compare that with the Panzer 1C, and we can see that the stats are worse than the Panzer 1C. So Panzer 1C has better terrain resistance, but this thing has better horsepower per ton ratio. So give or take, it trades off. But this thing has obviously more penetration at the cost of machine gunning other people. So the only downside of playing this thing is the existence of Panzer 1Cs. The upside of playing this thing is it's a premium, I guess, but nobody plays low tiers anymore. And radio range is only 300 meters. Oh, I did not cover that. Oops. So it has a crappy radio. It has only a 300 meters radio coverage. That's kind of bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. No artillery support, no tank destroyer support unless they're very close. Alright, so basically it's a what if. But what happened to the AM Gintron? The French car thing. Alright, so it's a fun give or take, but we have one more hidden vehicle added in this patch. So let's take a look. And finally, we have the VK7501K. It is a premium tier 8 German heavy tank, so a competitor to the Luva or the VK16801P, the Mauer breaker in a sense, but it's like the VK4502P OSB at tier 9, kind of reminds me of that, has a larger turret designed by Krupp, presumably, as well as a hull designed by Porsche, presumably, so a paper tank out of Germany's butthole, I guess. So it has the Yak Tiger's gun, look what it looks like, the 120 L61, alright. Kind of modified, I think, but it has a gun mantlet, case, as well as other stuff covering this vehicle. So schnapps for the barrel, and Knock Berlin for the turret. It is a pretty wide turret, and a large turret ring, holy crap, but the turret front is pretty small, and it's sloped for the turret cheeks. So you do have a commander cupola weak spot. Unfortunately for tanks.gg, there's no updates to the tank model, so we cannot see how strong the armor is. But for the front of the hull, it's 180, so that's pretty good. It's 20mm less than the VK4502P OSB, or the mouse for that sense. Kind of looks about the same angling, so this should be pretty much not be able to pin by tier 8s or tier 9s. Pretty much about 250 or 270 or so. So that's pretty good. Lower plate is questionable, but on the VK4502P OSB, I can tell you that that lower plate is awesome. That's about 250, and sometimes it's sloped downwards. So if you're shooting it from above, it's basically auto bounce. So this lower plate will make or break this vehicle, I can tell you that much. But side armor is 100mm, so pretty decent for side scraping. Side of the turret is 100, so that's pretty good for this turret cheek right here and right here. But it's 250 for the turret front, and that's pretty good. So I can tell you that the profile of this vehicle is a lot better than the Mauer breaker or the VK16801P. So that's the gigantic this thing, but holy crap, this thing is huge. And this thing has a 150mm cupola, so duh. But yeah, it's 180 for the upper plate on this thing, so you cannot penetrate this upper plate. So I presume it's the same upper plate, but on the 7501K. So yeah, it's a smaller target too, so less surface area for artillery strikes. But this thing has a large ass gun similar to the Mountbreaker. So it is the 226 millimeters of pen. It's okay, and about 500 alpha, so large bites. Takes a long ass time to reload, and it's very slow turret traverse, so be careful of that. 15 degrees of gun depression, 15 elevation. Relatively quick aim time of about 2.6 seconds, and 0.37 accuracy is also not that bad for a gun on this low level of a tier in comparison to the Yak Tiger or the Waffenträgers. But DPM is alright, it's below average, but not that bad. So, already covered the armor. 1600 health, that's good. I mean, I think the Mountbreaker has like 1800 or so, right? 1700. Alright, so lowest health compared to the Luva, compared to the 16801P. What about the normal tanks? No, not the Tiger one, or Tiger 2. Tiger 2 does not count. Tiger 2 is a normal heavy. We have also the VK 4502A, as well as the Tiger 2, as well as the Mammoth. Holy crap, how many German heavies tanks at tier 8? It's becoming Russian, Jesus. So, well, it has more than the freaking... Oh, why is it so low for the VK 4502A? Holy... Alright, so it's like the Tiger 2 in a sense, but DPM is average-ish, well, compared to the Tiger 2 and the VK, so okay. So all in all, it's German super heavy, basically. Mobility-wise, 12 horsepower per ton ratio, which is not bad for German heavy. Weighs about 75 tons, obviously. 30 kilometers per hour top speed, that's good. 15 reverse, that's decent. 22.9 for the hull traverse, slow, but what do you expect? No camo, obviously, and view range of 380. So it's all up to the lower plate, give or break this vehicle. Because on vehicles like this, if you play something like the VK4502P OSB, that thing has a very strong lower plate. So even if you expose your lower plate, not a lot of players could penetrate this thing. So this thing has 200 millimeters of upper plate armor, right? But this lower plate is about 150 or so. Let me take a look on tanks.gg. But I have played this vehicle a lot. I can tell you that this lower plate makes or break this thing. Because a lot of players would think, oh, just shoot the lower plate. Haha, you exposed it. Not really. The lower plate is about 250 millimeters effective. And let's see on tanks.gg, it's 170 millimeters at about 47 degrees. So effective armor is 250. Straight on, 250. But if you angle it a little bit, that's like for example like this, that's 257. So basically, not that many guns without gold shell will penetrate the lower plate. So yeah, it kind of makes or break this vehicle. But then again, it makes or break for all the other tanks like the Mammoth, like the Mountbreakers. When you see a Mountbreaker, just shoot the lower plate or shoot the cupola. But I mean, it's a smaller target overall. And out of 10, how much would I give this vehicle if I know the lower plate? Well, if the lower plate is about 220 millimeters effective, then I would say this vehicle is pretty decent for a tier 8. And based on the new matchmaking in 1.4.1, it's pretty good. But if the lower plate is like 150 or something, then you have to work a little bit more. And obviously, you don't want to do that. So, if the lower plate is 150, I will give this vehicle a 7 out of 10. If the cupola is also 150 or something, I will give this vehicle a 7 out of 10. If the lower plate is 220, same goes for the cupola, I will give it 8.5 out of 10. Let's take a look at the comparison. But has only 226 So this, ooh, what the hell? Standard top configuration. Why? Oh yeah, I have my own crew. Duh. Biased comparisons. Top configuration. What the hell am I doing? What am I doing? No rammers for the Luva. Duh. I don't have a Mammoth or the Mauer Breaker, so that's out of the comparison. All right, let's take a look at the DPM. Ooh, yep. It's still about the same average DPM. All right, that's good. On the higher end of the accuracy spectrum, okay, gun depression, the crappiest out of all of them. Duh, it's a rear-mounted turret. Penetration is close to the Mammoth, but has better alpha. So basically, it fires slower, but has higher alpha. So it's actually a good thing for heavy tanks because you're less exposed to the enemy's fire that way. So 12 horsepower per ton ratio is actually pretty decent. So it's close to the Luva, but it's not even close to the 4502A in a sense. Top speed of 30, which is good for super heavies in comparison to the Mauer Breaker or the Mammoth. That's good. It has no camo, obviously, and the worst view range. So, I mean, you will see a lot of these with the new matchmaking of all the same tier 8s across the board. So with the new matchmaking introduced in 1.4.1, you will see a lot more tier 8s, about 40% of tier 9s and about 10% tier 10s. So the new matchmaking is actually pretty decent, and therefore you won't see high tier vehicles. And I would say this thing is a 8.5 if the lower plate is pretty decent. If the lower plate is pretty crap, then it's a 7-ish? 7.5 or so. So give or take, but yeah, it's a German super heavy, so it's better than a Russian. More Germans, I guess that's a good point, but there's a lot of German heavy tanks at tier 8, and one of you guys have asked me, like, why are there so many premium tier 8s all of the sudden? Well, actually, it's for promoting front lines. Have you noticed how many freaking tier 8 vehicles there are? We actually have one new tier 8 every frontline episode. We get the UDES 1415 for this past frontline episode number 4, and we have gotten like the cars with the freaking cars. The shit. The Panhard. This is something 75mm. That's basically the car for one of those. And we actually got, what else is it? I remember we getting one tier 8 every frontline episode introduced. I may be sick, but like I remember one, like you have the IS-3A buffed for the frontlines episode. I remember that. You have currently buffs to the Panzer 58s for the next frontline episode. You have the TS5. Yeah, that's one of those, right? Holy shit. You also have like the cars. I don't have the cars. And the UDES 14 Alt 5. Actually, I kind of like this thing. It's relatively fast. And so, you have the buffs to the mills. And yeah, that's a lot of focus on tier 8s. A lot of players have been complaining that tier 8s were bad. Now, in the recent updates, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. So for the 7501K, I will give it 8 out of 10 without knowing the lower plate or the cupola. If the lower plate is good, if the cupola is good, then 8.5 or 9. But it's mostly because the matchmaking. If we have the original tier 10 matchmaking all the time, I will give this vehicle a 7.5 or 7. Even if the lower plate is 220mm. If the lower plate is 150, I will give it a 6 or something. But yeah, it's toss up. And there you go, folks. the 2 new hidden vehicles added in this patch. Unfortunately, we don't have the 777 version number 2 at tier 9 to play with, but I'm not that ecstatic or excited about that thing for the frontline rewards at the end of tier 10 prestige. So kind of disappointing. I wish we could get like the chieftain or something. That would be amazing, but I doubt it. So we're getting some sort of Russian light tank or the French light car for the gift for this year. So collecting dust, but that's good. Also, we have the buffed Wolverine for the French. That's also pretty decent. So yeah, it's not a bad year, and we're halfway through the year. So all the buffs to the vehicles, like the high tier mediums, the mills, pretty decent. The return of the maps, the exclusion of the map, that's one big plus, as well as the premium account thingy. So if you have premium accounts, you get more experience, and this thing is so amazing for grinding stock vehicles. It's crazy. And we have the buff to the matchmaking. That's a huge buff. So frontline is pretty good, grinding all your vehicles. I've been trying to finish the campaigns, so I will do a Rage Against the Meta episode for this thing soon. Trademark. But where is it? Where's the pedal van? I have just unlocked this thing. I have fully completed the first episode of second personal mission, whatever, for the Excalibur. But I'll try to do a pedal van episode. But I thought it was going to be easy for the personal missions, but they did not mention you have to do it like 10 times or like 15 times with some of the missions. It's just fucking ridiculous. So I'll try to finish up with the Chimera. I'm a little bit more further on the actual server, but I'm close to the Chimera as well. So yeah, overall for this year, half year review is not bad. I mean, we're getting a lot more new tanks, even though they're premiums. But sometimes you get buffs for like the mills or for vehicles that, like the Panzer 58 in a sense, previous premiums. And we're getting a lot of tier 8s. A lot of tier 8s for front lines. So I'm taking a look right now on tanks.gg, and for the tier 8 section of the categories, there is like, holy shit. There's like, oh, I'm thinking there's like possibly 100 plus tier 8s, different kinds of tier 8s in the game. That's a lot of tanks. Holy shit. So yeah, it's been a crazy year, but thank you guys for watching this video. I am still super sick, allergy season, making myself a bitch to allergies. Oh my god, but I'll see you guys next time. Peace.